They lived centuries ago, men whose portraits hang in classrooms, museums, and halls of government. Their faces are familiar, their names legendary, their words studied by generations. But behind the oil paint and marble lies something more. People of flesh and ambition, courage and contradiction. Today, through the lens of artificial intelligence, we bring the first 10 presidents of the United States back to life and rediscover the human beings who shaped the birth of a nation. George Washington stands first among them, the general who became a symbol of an entire revolution. He commanded the Continental Army through impossible odds and delivered victory over the British Empire. Yet, his truest triumph was not won on any battlefield. When the people wished to make him king, he refused. When power begged him to stay, he stepped aside. Twice he surrendered authority, first as a soldier, then as a president, proving that liberty endures only when leaders know when to let go. Washington defined not merely a country but a moral example, that greatness lies in restraint.
It depends on the decisions we make today. This document...
John Adams followed, a man of fierce intellect and unyielding principle. Before independence was secure, he defended the British soldiers accused in the Boston Massacre, believing that justice must never depend on popularity. Adams helped forge the Declaration of Independence, negotiated peace in Europe, and became the nation's second president. Surrounded by storms of political division, he resisted the pressure to lead America into war with France. The decision cost him a second term, but it spared the fragile republic from ruin. His final words, spoken on July 4, 1826, were, "Thomas Jefferson still survives." Unknown to him, his old friend and rival had died just hours earlier, their lives forever intertwined with the nation they had birthed. Thomas Jefferson embodied the spirit of the Enlightenment. Philosopher, scientist, architect, and author of the Declaration of Independence, he gave language to the dream that all men are created equal. He believed in a nation guided by reason and by the power of the mind. As president, he transformed America's destiny with the Louisiana Purchase, doubling its size for $15 million. He sent Lewis and Clark across the unknown frontier and envisioned an age of knowledge, education, and freedom. Yet Jefferson lived in paradox, a champion of liberty who held others in bondage, an idealist trapped in the moral contradictions of his time. He designed a republic greater than himself, one that would take generations to reach the equality he imagined. James Madison, small in stature but vast in intellect, carried forward that vision. The Constitution was his masterpiece. Where others argued, Madison reasoned. Where others feared tyranny, he engineered balance. He built a system of government rooted in checks and counterweights so that no single power could devour the rest. But the philosopher of liberty became a wartime president during the War of 1812, when British troops burned Washington and the White House itself. From the ashes rose a new sense of national identity and confidence. Madison left office not only with a nation intact, but with an idea proven resilient. The idea that democracy could withstand crisis. James Monroe came next, a veteran of the Revolution and a man of steady temperament. His presidency became known as the Era of Good Feelings, a rare moment when political divisions seemed to fade and optimism filled the air. But Monroe's lasting mark came from one bold declaration, the Monroe Doctrine. With calm but firm resolve, he told Europe that the American continents were no longer open to colonization. It was the announcement of a new era, one in which the United States would claim guardianship over its hemisphere. His words reverberated across oceans and centuries, shaping American policy long after his death. John Quincy Adams inherited not only his father's name, but his relentless devotion to public service. Fluent in several languages and trained as a diplomat from youth, he helped craft treaties, shape borders, and secure peace. Yet his presidency was marred by partisan rancor and limited success. Where others sought power, Adams sought principle, and the clash left him isolated. His redemption came in the House of Representatives, where he served for 17 years after leaving the presidency. There, he became one of the most fearless voices against slavery, denouncing the gag rule that tried to silence debate. When he argued the Amistad case before the Supreme Court, defending Africans who had seized their freedom aboard a slave ship, he did so not for politics, but for conscience. He collapsed at his desk in Congress and died 2 days later, still at work, still serving the republic he had spent his life defending. Andrew Jackson rose in stark contrast, a frontier warrior forged in hardship. Orphaned as a boy, scarred by war, he built himself through force of will. His victory at the Battle of New Orleans made him a national hero, and his presidency marked the rise of the common man. Jackson tore down entrenched elites, expanded suffrage to white men without property, and transformed the presidency into a symbol of popular power. But his legacy is inseparable from tragedy. The Indian Removal Act he signed forced entire nations from their ancestral lands, leading to the Trail of Tears and the deaths of thousands. He championed democracy for some while denying humanity to others. Jackson left behind a more vigorous presidency and a darker moral inheritance that still echoes. Martin Van Buren followed him, a master strategist known as the Little Magician. He built coalitions, organized the Democratic Party, and understood the machinery of politics better than anyone of his generation. Yet destiny dealt him a cruel hand. Within months of taking office, the Panic of 1837 plunged the nation into economic chaos. Banks collapsed, unemployment soared, and despair spread. No brilliance of management could stop the tidal wave. Van Buren left office unpopular, though history remembers him as the first truly modern politician, a man who understood that democracy was not just ideals, but organization, persuasion, and the art of winning hearts as well as votes. William Henry Harrison came next, the hero of Tippecanoe. His campaign was a spectacle of songs, slogans, and parades. Tippecanoe and Tyler too, and his victory seemed a triumph of energy and endurance. But the very symbol of his vitality became his undoing. On a cold, wet inauguration day, he delivered the longest inaugural address in history, coatless, under driving rain. Within weeks, he fell ill, and a month later, he was dead. 31 days in office made his presidency the shortest ever, but his death set a crucial precedent: the transfer of power to his vice president, establishing a rule that would guide the nation through future crises. That vice president was John Tyler, a Virginian of sharp intellect and even sharper independence. When Harrison died, no one knew whether the vice president should truly become president or merely act in his place. Tyler made the decision himself. He took the oath, assumed full authority, and insisted he was the President of the United States. The nation eventually accepted it, and the precedent endured. Yet Tyler's defiance alienated his own party. His cabinet resigned, and he finished his term politically isolated. Still, he achieved a final success with the annexation of Texas, expanding America's reach to the Southwest. In his later years, as the country divided over slavery, Tyler sided with his home state and joined the Confederacy. A somber reminder that even the architects of union could become instruments of disunion. From Washington's humility to Jackson's defiance, from Jefferson's intellect to Adams's conscience, these 10 men embodied the contradictions of a new republic. They built a government founded on liberty, yet struggled with its limits. They dreamed of unity while waging bitter political wars. They spoke of equality while living in an age of inequality. Each left a mark, some noble, some flawed. But together they carved the foundations of a nation that would outlive them all. Today, artificial intelligence allows us to see their faces move, their eyes blink, their expressions flicker with life once more. But what truly brings them alive is not technology, it is memory. It is the recognition that history is not a list of dates and titles, but a story of human beings. Brave, ambitious, imperfect, and real. The first 10 presidents were not distant statues. They were fathers, husbands, rivals, dreamers. They built something that would challenge every generation after them to rise, to argue, to believe, and to build again. To look into their faces is to see the reflection of a nation still becoming itself. The experiment they began continues, unfinished, uncertain, alive. And in their gaze, now restored through the miracle of AI, we are reminded that the past is never truly gone. It speaks, it breathes, and it waits for us to listen.